Sing me a song of a lass that is gone. Say, could that lass be I? Mary of soul, she sailed on a day over the sea to sky.
Hey everyone, Alvine here. So it's been a couple of weeks. I tried to make a video last week before I left on this little holiday that I went on, which if you're on Facebook you'll know I did that. I actually managed to fit the video in right before I had to leave, and I decided not to edit it or anything. I was just going to chuck it straight up, and an hour and a half later when I had to leave it had only uploaded 40%. So much for that. So I didn't get to put that up last week, but I'm here now. I wanted to talk today about my spiritual practice. This was part of the YouTube Pagan Challenge question, which was, what spiritual practice do you do most often? And I thought I'd just kind of go through, a few of the things that I generally do. So for me, I've mentioned before that nature is a huge part of my spiritual practice and my spiritual experience and my worship. So each morning what I do is I ground. So I go outside generally. Sometimes I just sit at my altar space, but usually I go outside. I center, I ground, so I imagine I picture energetic roots going into the ground and connecting and drawing up that energy. I've also started now grounding with air. Now this is something that I learnt from one of my grey school classes, and a teacher suggested it to me, so he just recommended basically sending up those same energetic kind of roots or tendrils and connecting with air as well. So that's something I've been doing too, kind of doing below and above. And after I do that, I shield. Now for me, this is kind of a side note really, but my shield colour has always been blue, or at least it has for probably the last year or so. But now when I'm protecting myself, when I'm putting that shield up for protection, which is generally what I'm doing, it's actually black now. So the colour's changed, which is interesting. So I do that. I also like to do morning pages. So that's 3 pages stream of consciousness writing. I'm able to kind of just, dump everything out on the page, and I find new and interesting things that come out. So I do that as well pretty much every morning. And I also like to do a daily draw. So the 2 decks that I use for that at the moment are Earth Magic Oracle or my Druid Craft Tarot deck, which I don't have on me right now. I'm learning the tarot at the moment, so it's been a really nice process to kind of choose a card from that deck each morning and, learn a bit about tarot as I'm kind of, doing my daily draw as well. What else do I do? A big thing for me is being outside at night. I love the night sky, I love the stars, I love the moon, and I feel a deep sense of connection with them. When I look up at the stars, it really takes me outside of myself, and I think about how vast and how huge those stars are that I can see, and they're a sprinkling of the stars that are out there in our galaxy alone, let alone beyond that. And that's what we know. There's so much out there that we have no idea about. And for me, it kind of it just takes me outside of myself, and I feel a great sense of awe and of wonder. And I just feel that connection with divinity, with the cosmos in those moments. So I love getting outside at night and just staring up at those. I love the moon. I love lunar energy. I really love the full moon, but I love every phase of the moon, particularly waning to dark is and the new moon are just my thing, you know. It's just where I feel so connected, and I just feel the power of those phases so much. So I really love those. And you know, if I don't get outside for a few nights, I start to feel really off, like I need to get outside. And once I do, I always kind of, I feel better within myself again. So that's something that's really important to me as well. And I do that pretty much every day. And at some stage through the day, I will always go outside and just be out there for a while. That's, for me, nature is where Goddess is, where divinity is, how I most easily connect with that. I don't have a particular god or goddess that I connect with myself. At this time, you know, there are a few that I have used as archetypes and I've worked with, but never, for me at this time, none of them represent all of divinity for me, if that makes sense. But for me, nature does. You know, it's a tangible expression of divinity. So yes, I go outside a lot, and that's how I connect mostly, and a huge part of my spiritual practice. Another thing I do, and Amethyst mentioned this in her video on this topic, is watch YouTube. For me, this community is a space where I learn and grow, and the closest word I can think of is like a church. You know, it's kind of like church to me. Like, I connect here. I you know, community is here. You know, church is about community. So for me, you know, connecting with other people and talking with other people, and, you know, watching videos and hearing ideas and bouncing ideas back and forth, like, that for me has been a huge part of my spiritual growth, like massive part. When I first stepped into this path, you know, I learnt most things at the beginning from YouTube, from other YouTubers, from other witches, and from other pagans. So for me, it's a really special part of what I do, and it is something that does feel a part of my spiritual practice. This past week, when I was on my holiday of sorts, it wasn't really a holiday, I wasn't able to watch YouTube. You know, I didn't have enough data on my phone and all that kind of thing. And I felt really off. Like, I don't know, I was just like so desperate to come back and just like hear everyone's voice and see everyone's faces again. And then I watched Amethyst's video the other day when I got back. Yesterday, actually, it was. Yeah, and it just, like, when she said that, it really resonated with me. Like, that's so true. So that's part of my spiritual practice as well. I think those are the main kind of things that I do very regularly. I'm just looking around for inspiration here. You know, of course, I do lots of other sorts of things, but those are my main spiritual practices at the moment. Yeah. And as you guys can see, I've kind of moved my room around a little bit. Yeah, I've got kind of 3 spaces in my room, and each time I've got one of them feeling really good, another one kind of goes out of whack. And so I had my altar space, great. I had my creative space, great, which is over that way, which is, I keep looking at it. And then my kind of chair shelving situation just didn't feel right. So I shifted that around. I had a house inspection last week, like a couple of hours before we left on a plane. And so a couple of days before that, you know, I had all this cleaning to do and all this stuff, and I just felt like rearranging my witchy room, so I did. And now I love this space, and I use it all the time, and the energy's flowing well around here. The room feels bigger, because it's a really small room that I'm in. Yeah, and it just feels great, and it's so pretty. You can kind of see a little bit going on there, but maybe I'll give you a little tour at some stage. Although now my altar space has kind of gone a little bit out of whack, as seems to happen. So I moved a few things around there. So mostly it's good. It's just, there's just a little bit of something that needs to go on there. So, but we're coming up to, or I'm coming up to Samhain this week. So I'm wanting to really connect with some certain energies going on there. So I'm going to be reshifting, and I think it's probably a good thing that it's feeling like it needs a bit of a change up. So I'll be doing that as well. Anyway, those are my spiritual practices, my main spiritual practices. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you in the next one. Lots of love. Bye.